Hey, 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 hey. How is everybody doing on this beautiful afternoon? I am your girl, Misbehaving. And the name of this channel is Misbehaving is Fun, where I talk about real people, real problems, and real drama. Happy Black History. You know, just like I know, that Black history is America's history and it's 365 days of the year. Today is Tuesday, March 4th, 2025, and I am your host, Misbehaving. The time is now 6:34 p.m. on the East Coast, but it's 3:34 p.m. here in sunny California. How are you doing? How are you doing? And thank you. Please hit the like button, subscribe if you have not already subscribed, and share the video. So today's video will be about mental illness and butterflies and their relation thereof. But I got to do some house cleaning. In good faith, this work contains fair use of copyrighted and non copyrighted images from the public domain and web for non commercial and nonprofit educational purposes. This work is distributed free of charge. The author has neither monetized this work nor sought any profit from its distribution. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit educational or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. This work contains original work of commentary and critical analysis. Quotations are attributed to the original authors and sources. I hope you all are doing well. I know the weather is beautiful out here. The sun is shining brightly, but it's a little bit cool. But nothing that I can't handle. In fact, I've been walking around with shorts. And a couple of people said, "Are you not cold?" I said, "No, this isn't cold weather." I said, "I was born in Chicago and the weather gets horrible, but I was raised in California from the age of 10 on up." I said, "So this weather right here, I mean, it's nothing. I mean, I can tell it's, cooler than it was the day before, but it's nothing where I need to go grab a heavy coat or jacket." And as some of you are aware, President Donald Trump is supposed to be giving a speech this evening, and in fact, I don't know if he's supposed to give the speech at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or if it's East Coast time. More than likely, it might be Pacific Standard Time because they want the good folks over here on the West Coast to get off work so they can hear the president talk. But anyway, I digress. So anyway, you guys, I want to change this photo, butterfly. I want to put the butterfly up here. This butterfly is so beautiful, very, very beautiful. I had someone who is now a subscriber, and I want to say thank you for subscribing. And that's a good way to show your support to us bloggers. So, the subscriber and I were commenting back and forth. They commented me, I shouldn't say commented, but they gave me a compliment, complimented me. That's the correct word. Complimented me on a video. And then they told me that butterflies hate themselves. And I told them, no, I disagree. Matter of fact, I want to go ahead and read the post correctly. I will not say the subscriber's name. If they want me to say their name, I will, but for right now, I'm going to back. My goodness, I hate this right here. Now, the funny thing about this is when you don't want to find a comment, they're right there. But when you want to find a comment, but you just can't find it. So hold on. Let me go to my page and because I definitely want to read it because I want you all to hear the context of our dialogue going back and forth. And the person wasn't disrespectful at all. But some of you may or may not know I am an advocate for children and adults uh, that live and struggle with mental illness, as well as children and adults that are diagnosed with uh, trisomy 21, better known as Down syndrome. And in fact, I'm an advocate for any child or adult um, that has a special need because they are the most vulnerable in society and need the most protection with mental health. And throughout this live, it won't be long. I'll be saying either mental health or mental illness. And in our community, as a medical professional, I am a registered nurse. We use both terms interchangeably. So it's not wrong when you're communicating with someone if you say mental illness or mental health. So let me see if I can find this beautiful subscriber's comments. Uh, okay, here it is. So the subscriber said butterflies hate themselves. So I responded in kind. I said, I appreciate your support by commenting on my page, but I disagree that butterflies hate themselves. Butterflies are a symbol of transformation and new life. In the mental health community, a butterfly is a symbol of transformation, resilience, and hope. Oftentimes, when you see someone who has a loved one who has a love or an affinity for butterflies, it's quite possible that they or someone they know and love battled with mental illness slash mental health and are now in recovery. Be kind, be patient, be a blessing to others. So they responded to me in kind. They said that does apply to the real butterfly. I agree with you. So I'm going to say they want to be butterflies. And then they put two butterflies and put BE. And I said, I've seen that acronym before, but I said, I don't want to read too much into anything. So after seeing that, I responded and I told them, your point is valid. I personalize the word hate because I am a butterfly and I don't hate myself. I can see how some butterflies may hate themselves, which would explain why some butterflies attempt suicide. By chance, are you a friend, family member, butterfly, or medical professional? And a medical professional could be a doctor, nurse, therapist, or technician. In the mental health community, if you don't feel comfortable answering here, send me an email message. And then I put my email down, which is needanurse2019 at gmail.com. So I have not checked my email to see if they had responded. So, based off that engagement with just that one person, I said, you know what? Let me talk about the relationship between mental illness and butterflies. Because there may be some people, because everyone doesn't have the best intentions. And sometimes people will read into things too much, and they could have thought that, oh, well, misbehaving just made a video the other day, using Butterfly's name and then attacking. Uh, Marcella, and now here she is talking about butterflies and mental illness. This video today and what I'm talking about, it has nothing to do with butterfly. It's based off an interaction with a subscriber in the comment section. So I wanted to provide some education. So the butterfly, in fact, has many meanings. In fact, there's this project, it's called the Butterfly Project. And if some of you Google that term, butterfly project, it will show you that it can mean several things. Hi, Kaya. Thanks for being here. And thank you for those hanging in the clouds. I understand you don't want to get caught over here, but that's okay. I appreciate you being here. Just hit the like and subscribe if you have not already done so. But if some of you Google the term butterfly project, you may see different meanings. Butterfly project can be symbolized like end of life care, um, self harm awareness, because we have a lot of people who are diagnosed with a mental illness. Some people do self harming, where they may cut themselves, and just a variety of things to inflict pain upon themselves, cut, burning. Some people even uh, do more severe things to themselves to release the internal pain that they may be feeling. And then you have those that really have thoughts of suicidal ideation. And so, um, the Butterfly Project, there's also another Butterfly Project, and it's honoring the children that died during the Holocaust. But today's video focuses on the relationship between mental illness and butterflies. So the butterfly symbol has many meanings. Um, Butterflies are a symbol of transformation and new life. In the mental health community, a butterfly symbolizes transformation, resilience, hope, and community. Oftentimes, when you see someone who has a love or affinity for butterflies, they are someone they know has battled with mental illness and are now in recovery. Butterflies are delicate insects which reflect the fragility and vulnerability of individuals experiencing mental health issues. It emphasizes the importance of providing support and understanding to those who are struggling. Butterflies are known for their vibrant colors and graceful flight, which represents the resilience and beauty that individuals with mental health challenges can possess in the face of adversity. It's my belief that we all, whether you're indigenous, black, white, Hispanic, or Asian, we all suffer from some form of mental illness due to traumatic events we've experienced. Some of us have been diagnosed while others are walking around undiagnosed, casting judgment and inflicting pain upon others. There are various forms of mental illness. Some of the most common are anxiety, mood disorder, schizophrenia, post traumatic stress disorder, personality disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, impulsivity, and substance abuse. But the list goes on and on. We've all heard the saying that hurt people, but that's never a justification to inflict harm upon someone else, whether it be verbal, emotional, physical. There's no reason. The butterfly is a powerful symbol for mental health, representing hope, transformation, vulnerability, and resilience. It encourages individuals to embrace their struggles, seek support, and work towards their recovery. By incorporating the butterfly into mental health awareness campaigns and personal journeys, we can promote understandings, reduce stigma, and empower individuals to prioritize their well being. Always remember that kids who survive trauma grow up to become adults coping with trauma or functioning in trauma. So be kind, be patient, be a blessing to others because you never know um, when someday that person that is in need of help could quite possibly be you. Hey, Sunshine, how you doing, boo? Good afternoon. So you guys, I'm going to show you a tattoo. Let me see if I can get it. I'm gonna go show you guys a tattoo, and you may see some. If you ever see somebody with this tattoo right here, the semicolon and the butterfly. And what this represents is that a semicolon represents the idea that the author could have finished their sentence but decided to continue because their story isn't finished yet. In other words, this is someone that may have tried to attempt suicide. And I could care less if this video isn't monetized or not because I'm educating the public and I need to use the actual terms instead of censoring myself or editing myself. So, again, the semicolon represents that the person may have tried to end their life, take their life, commit suicide, but they decided not to, and they're pushing forward to continue with life. The Butterfly Project is a social movement that encourages people to draw butterflies on the parts of their body they want to self harm. And then the butterfly is named like after, it could be named after a family member, a friend, someone that's very supportive of them. That's what they named the butterfly. In any time that that person, whether it's an adult or child, when they have thoughts of self-harming themselves, they can look at that butterfly and the name on there, and it helps inspire them to encourage them to continue living on and not to harm themselves and to do it for themselves. So what happens is it doesn't work all the times, but the goal is um, for the butterfly to be on the part of the body that they want to harm. And if that person harms themselves, you wash the butterfly away and then they start again. But if the person is successful in leaving that butterfly or on their part of the body that they wanted to harm and it fades away, it symbolizes that the butterfly lived and it just flew away. So it's kind of like an alternative to, I don't know if some of you have ever paid attention or have ever noticed you may see someone that has a rubber band or elastic on their wrist, and they may go around popping the rubber band. Well, popping the rubber band is often used people that have a history of self harming themselves. That's a way for them to remind them not to hurt themselves as well. When I say I am a butterfly, what I am saying is that I am someone that's diagnosed with a mental illness. And even when I hear people, I think. Uh, when I hear people try to make digs at someone or they're crazy or you need to be locked up and this, that, and the other, it doesn't bother me, but it makes me feel sorry for them because most often the people that are doing the judgment and the criticizing, they need help. I remember I got mad at Candy Burris from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. So I'm gonna take this down so you guys can see the butterfly. But just pay attention if you see somebody with this. And it's not just people that do this for themselves. We also recommend like family members, friends. If you support, if you know someone, just as a sign of support and to increase awareness about it. But I remember I have always liked candy birds. I had liked candy birds, but candy pissed me off, you guys. It was the season when Drew Sidora's sister was on there, and she was sharing how she struggles with mental illness and mental health. And I remember when Candy was doing her speak on it, and then she was making comments, and she had that wacky ass girl up on there. I think Courtney. Like, it was just so insensitive. Candy never to this day, never to this day. Here it is, March 4th, 2025. She still hasn't posted an apology or anything on her page about how insensitive she was. She didn't have, the knowledge or was uninformed, but it was just reckless on her behalf. But I guess she said, to hell with us. She's a quote unquote celebrity. She's a multimillionaire. She could care less about the little people. But I know that season right there, listening to her speak on it and the stuff that she said, honey, oh, I was pissed off at Candy. And I still dislike her to this day because she has never apologized. Not once. Not once. And it's unfortunate because a lot of people that are on reality television uh, struggle and are living with mental illness, whether they're diagnosed or not. Some people are afraid to go get diagnosed. Some people are too prideful and worried about what the world or what society or their family members or friends would will think about them. It's okay to pray to God, but still, you need help because a lot of adults were once kids that went through traumatic events and now they're adults. So, can you imagine someone that was once a child that lived through traumatic events, never received therapy, counseling, help, no type of treatment? Then you go on to then have your own children. So, the traumas that you've experienced in some sort of way, it impacts your children. So, I know my daughter, and my other daughter, I mean, they love me, and I know, my daughter tells me all the time she notices, she's noticed a long time ago, how I always try to amend and listen to what they say. You know, I don't like that idea that I'm the parent and what I say go. Now, when they were younger, I mean, I was strict. When I say strict, I was strict. But I can understand how some of my parenting may have affected them. So when I recognize that, I apologize to them for that because I explained to them that was the way I was raised. So you can still be the parent, but at the same time, you have to acknowledge your children's feelings, no matter what age they are. It doesn't matter if you're paying the bills, not at all. Just reflect back to when you were a child and how no one listened to you or made you feel less than, or go to your room. I can't stand your daddy. Now, I never heard that. I never heard that come out my mother's mouth. I can't stand your daddy. But I know, looking back, my mother was stressed out. A lot of our parents are stressed out. You paying bills. Come on. If you sit back and think about it, you are going to work, you're working all day, you're providing for the family, whether you're married or not. There are some women out here married or have a partner, and their partner is sitting at home doing nothing all day, and these women got to come and hey, T-Bird Talks. T-Bird Talks said, hello, everyone. I'm mostly listening and not in the chat often. Interesting subject because I was just saying I think I may have undiagnosed ADHD. You know what, T-Bird Talks? It's a lot of stuff that I do that my daughter brought it to my attention. Um, she said, "Mommy, I think you're on the autism spectrum." And I was like, "No, I don't. I know I'm not." But then I started crying, and she was like, "Mommy, why are you crying?" And I said, "Because it makes me reflect back to being a child. When you've been through so many traumatic events, and then to like have a mental diagnosis as a child and not receive help, like I don't know." And I'm sorry for getting emotional. But hey, I keep it real. Real people, real problems, real drama. I know I'm not the only one. I know it is so many people going through things and feel the same way. Um, so yeah, it's a lot of stuff. Because back then when we were younger, I don't know how old you are, T-Bird Talk, but I am 53. And then back then when we were younger, I mean, we weren't hearing nothing about ADHD or nothing like that. I don't have ADHD, but I know I have to have things neat and clean. I don't like to see filth. I don't like to see anything unorganized. If I see something unorganized, it makes my mind just go into overdrive. If I see a stain, if I go to a restaurant and see a stain on somebody, okay, so we're from the same generation then. If I see a stain on somebody's clothing at a restaurant, baby, I'm not eating that food. I got to see you wash your hands. I mean, it's all kind of stuff. And then, I know, may my mother rest in peace. I know that my mother worked all the time. I always saw that she worked. Uh, she kept the house clean. She made sure, I mean, she was a stickler. She was like an authoritarian. We had to get A's in the house. You cannot bring anything in the house less than an A, which has had effect on me too, it growing up, even as an adult. Like if I'm in college, if it's not going to be an A, I don't even care if the grade's a B. I don't want to do it anymore because it's not an A. I would over excel or do the most. I got to write a paper. I go check out 10 books and it'd be on the same topic, and not even taking into consideration what sites I may have found on the internet to support and to cite in my bibliography. So I don't know. Hey, there my girl go. Hey, Logical Speaks. So I say all of that, if you look back, I can even talk from my personal experience, coming home from a hard day at work. You had the house clean because I'm one of those people, it has to be clean. I can come through the door if something's out of place. I get mad, it's bothering me, and you get the yelling. Why is this like this? Well, the parents, I realized parents were yelling and screaming. Your mama was screaming like that, or your grandmother was screaming like that because they're stressed out. Black women, we have, and black people in general, seldom went and got therapy or never got therapy at all. You just dealt with it. And that's our history. And it backdates from slavery. You weren't allowed to take a day off from work. They got up, sun up, and worked to sundown. It didn't matter if they were hurt, a bone was broke, or anything. They had to work. Hey, unapologetic real talk. But it didn't matter. So it's not just our communities, it's other communities as well. People are affected. I'm gonna share an example. I was at the post office yesterday. Um And I was at the post office, and the lady, she wasn't smiling. Her name was Beth. Bless her heart. Beth is older. Beth had her name tag was turned. I mean, it wasn't upside down, but it was hanging. You know how, what is it, vertical? The tag was hanging vertical. Her shirt wasn't dirty, but she just looked it, like it was rough. she was struggling. And to me, as someone who considers herself to be a butterfly, someone diagnosed with mental illness, oftentimes I can feel or sense someone's energy, like they're feeling sad, or it's just a rough day. Today is not the day. I may pop off, and that's what I sense from Beth. So um we had a brief conversation. She was pleasant, but she still wasn't smiling. And then I said, normally I always tell people, once I conduct business with them, I always tell them, have a beautifully blessed day. But looking at her demeanor, I said, I don't know if I should say that, because I don't know her religious belief, and I don't want to offend anyone, because I just don't. So as I was about to walk away, she said, have a blessed day. And when she said that, I turned around. I said, thank you for that. And I reached out my hand. I said, can I have your hand? And she touched my hand, and I clasped it in both of my hands. And I said, I want you to have a beautifully blessed day. Thank you for telling me that. And I said, whatever you are going through, it will be okay. It gets better. The pain is just momentarily. The lady dropped her head and she looked up at me and she said, thank you. She said, I lost my husband. And she said, it was 2 years ago. And I said, I'm sorry to hear that. And she said, I just feel like I'm just going through the motions. I just don't know what to do. I said, I can understand. I said, I don't understand. I don't know what it feels like to lose a husband, but I do know what it felt like to lose my mother. I said, I'm 53 now. My mother passed away when I was 24. So as the years have gone on, the pain is still there, but it's lessened. And so then all of a sudden, her whole demeanor, she just started smiling. She felt better. And I told her, I said, Beth, don't you let this job stress you out. She started laughing. And so that's just one story. And then I know I was in the Social Security office. And as I'm waiting in line, these two ladies, I can tell they worked for like a residential facility or group home. It was two Asian ladies, and they looked younger than me. And so the man comes in, it's an older white man. He looked to be he probably was about 5'6", 5'7", and he was walking, leaned over a little bit, walking slow. His hair was long. I looked at his hands, his nails were long, and he went to go sit. The lady told him to go sit down on a chair. So when she told him to go sit down on the chair, I said, well, he's walking slow, like a little shuffling gait. For those of you that are in the medical field, you know what a shuffling gait. And for those of you that are not, it's like someone that's walking, but they don't raise their feet all the way up off the ground. And so he was shuffling. Yes, baby. Hold on just a second, you guys. What you want, son? He- Here you go. Here. There's nothing in there, but here. Okay, y'all. This is part two of y'all know I keep it real. My son comes first. But anyway, so I said, well, they're not even gonna help the man go sit down on the chair. So he had like a little blunted affect. So I just smiled at him, and then I nodded my head and I raised my hand, because I just assumed that perhaps he may have served in the military. He could have been a veteran, because out here in San Diego County, we have we have a lot of retired veterans. So anyway, when I finished with my work, get ready, finish with everything I needed to do, I'm walking out the Social Security office. And then I hear him say something. And then he said, but he was looking at me, and then he pointed at me. And so one of the ladies was standing next to him. And she started smiling and laughing. And I said, "Excuse me?" He said, "You have a beautiful smile." I said, "Oh, T-Top. I mean, T-Bird. I lost my husband. He was only 31 years old. It was devastating and very traumatic. You never get over." Yeah. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry to hear that. What'd you say, D? I have a question. Are butterflies the only symbols that show signs of mental illness? I had a client who had clocks all over the walls. Can you explain to me why butterflies might be significant? Yeah, I had said it earlier. Your client might just had a fascination with clocks. He might have had a fascination with clock or afraid of dying. I don't know, but for the butterfly is a symbol for mental health. It represents hope, transformation, vulnerability, and resilience. It encourages individuals to embrace their struggles, seek support, and work towards their recovery. But you also know, D, being a prophetess, you would know this the best, that butterflies are a symbol of transformation and new life. That's what it said up in the Bible. But yeah, that's why they use butterflies. Yep, butterflies. And since you were arrived late, D, I'm gonna show you the picture of the. You laughing about them clock? Yeah, that man probably said time is short. He ain't trying to go to heaven yet. Uh-huh. And I'm gonna show you this symbol, this picture, D. The semicolon and the butterfly wings, you'll see people wear that. A semicolon represents the idea that the author could have finished their sentence but decided to continue because their story isn't finished yet. In other words, the semicolon represents someone that may have attempted to take their life, but they chose not to, and they're going ahead to continue their story, continue living life. And it's not just mental health patients. Sometimes you may see these tattoos on people, family members, friends. It's just people that are showing their support for someone that's diagnosed with a mental illness, and those help spread awareness, because we all know that there is a stigma with mental illness. It's changing. It's starting to change, but there are still some people that judge you or think you're unstable and unable, not fit to do your job. Because unfortunately, there are some people that they may commit a crime and then they try to hide behind a mental illness diagnosis. And which I think is unfair. And then you do have some people that do have mental diagnosis that are untreated. But when their diagnosis is untreated, they go into a state of psychosis, acute psychosis, where they're hearing voices that are not real. They're seeing things that are not real. They may be afraid. The voices may be uh, command hallucinations, that what we call it, where the voices are telling them to do things. So that's why a lot of times when people come into hospitals, or you're visiting them, or you see where somebody looks sad, they're not eating, they look disheveled, or they're just not showering, you'll oftentimes find people ask, do you feel like hurting yourself? Do you feel like hurting anyone else? They try, and then sometimes they'll try another way. Instead of just coming out to ask if you feel like hurting yourself, they may say, do you ever feel like going to sleep and never waking up? And so a lot of times they tell us to be on the lookout for people that are giving away stuff. Someone that's giving away stuff is a sign that they're going to be with our maker. um, And oftentimes, when people do start, let's say they're depressed, antidepressant medications, it takes about 2 weeks for the medication to get in their system to have some sort of effect. But then their mood changes from being depressed, hopeless, and sad to now all of a sudden they're chipper and happy. And we've been taught to those are the people you have to watch the closest, because although they seem happy, those are the ones that go ahead and may end their life. What you say, D? You said we need more teaching on mental health because we as Black people hate to get the help because of tradition. That's right. I put several links in this video. I put a link about the Project Butterfly, because they really started that. It's helping a lot of children because young children are being bullied at young ages. It could be a variety thing: weight, color, you're not wearing a nice clothes, your hair texture. Kids are bullied for a lot of things. They're finding kids harming themselves, and they said there was an increase of children harming themselves during the pandemic because they were locked in, stuck in the house. But yeah, T-Bird Talks, you said if a person is hearing voices and have imaginations that are not real, what is the treatment modality for that type of mental illness? Sometimes they'll prescribe them antipsychotics, like they may give them Haldol, haloperidol. They can also give them Depakote. It's for Depakote is more like for a mood stabilizer, but they also use Depakote can be used for seizures as well. You have Haldol, you have Abilify because it'll help with the agitation. You have Thorazine. So it depends, T-Bird, on the particular patient. um and then the dosage. Medicine affects each person differently, and a lot of these medications that have been created have not been tested to treat Black people. So it's like a touch and go. It's kind of like antihypertensive medication, like ACE inhibitors. ACE inhibitor, lisinopril is one of those blood pressure pills that it reacts negatively in our bodies. Our genetic makeup, for some reason, our bodies don't do well with lisinopril ACE inhibitors. So yeah. But let me take this down. And we're almost done, you guys. Oh my God, it's 45 minutes. I didn't expect it to be this long. But yeah, so anyway, I talked to the man. His name is Bob, and I called him Bob the Builder. And he told me, we were talking, and I said a little prayer for him. And he told me, he said, your smile is so sweet. He said the world has changed. He said nobody smiles anymore. Nobody talks anymore. He said, I was a bus driver. I lived in Los Angeles. I drove for the NTA. I think he said he drove for, it was either 24 years or it was 34 years. And he said he made a bad decision in life, and now he's in this situation. And so when he told me that, I gave him a little prayer, and I told him it'll be all right. And he said, you have a beautiful day. And I said, you have a beautifully blessed day. Baby, when I said that, he said, are you a Christian? I said, yes. He said, my wife, he said, what did he ask me if I was he asked me if I was a hard Christian. I said, I'm not a hard Christian, but I'm a fighting Christian. And he started laughing, and he told me his wife had passed away, and he said she was a hard Christian. So, you just take time out. Everybody's going through something. People put on facades to be things that they're not, or to impress other people. Y'all better quit stressing yourself out. Y'all better quit stressing yourself out, because, honey, I'm not stressing myself out for nobody. For nobody. But I tell you what, that is a beautiful butterfly, I must add. But y'all, I want to thank you for coming on in and stopping in. I can give y'all a little messy stuff, drag somebody on occasion, but honey, I'm all about peace. I'd rather create peace than participate in destruction. But misbehaving ain't never afraid to go to war. And I'll give y'all a little commentary on reality, but I gotta mix it up. It just can't be reality television because I get tired of saying the same thing that everybody else is saying. And I know we are all watching the same shows, and so you can't help. Sometimes your stuff may sound like somebody else, but honey, I ain't got time to be sitting up on there. I got to get my life in order, which is what I'm doing. And it seemed like there's so many others need to get. Yes, son. Oh, my son over there talking to himself. But yes, I greatly appreciate everybody that showed up. So that is the meaning, and that's for my special subscriber that just subscribed to me today. I created this video just for you, and maybe it can help others too. So I'm your girl, Misbehaving. And the name of the channel is Misbehaving is Fun, where I talk about real people, real problems, and real drama. Baby, ain't nobody mad but the devil. But if you find yourself being mad at anything that Misbehaving had to say, baby, chances are the devil is you. I want y'all to have a beautiful day. I didn't keep y'all too long. Y'all be safe in these YouTube streets. Y'all be safe in that traffic over on the East Coast and warm on up. For my Cali people, I may be back later, but don't you hold me to it, honey. Y'all lucky to get 2 videos from me in 1 week. At least this one I gave y'all a little bit of advance notice. But honey, what y'all think about that daggone governor? That daggone governor over there in Connecticut. What the heck is that governor name? I'm gonna do a video about him. Matter of fact, I may call his office and record the conversation. I can't remember. I don't know where my paper is with that man name, but he's up here now. That it could be clickbait because sometimes the media they do clickbait too, but he's supposed to be cutting the funding for special education in the state of Connecticut. Uh, it's $40 million. Hell, don't take that out on the special education kids, cause y'all already know it ain't nothing but a bunch of corruption and fraud. Because when that money's sent to the state, what they do is they divert it to people's payrolls and to the sports program. The kids in the special education classrooms don't get nothing they're supposed to have. They don't have the supplies, they don't have the tools, the teachers don't have the support. Can you imagine? Bless their heart, the teachers suffer from mental illness, but gotta go to work because they gotta pay their house note and their car note. Then they get in there with a child with no assistance, and the child is responding because they're overstimulated. And honey, it's a recipe for disaster. You know what? That's gonna be another video because I'm disappointed when so many of our children that have special needs and diagnosed with autism or something else, and they're not receiving the support that they're supposed to receive at school. And then when the children respond with violence, our own people talking about throw the kid up in jail. Y'all gotta be some god doggone fools. But that'll be another video. Cause I'm gonna share some insight to that. Hey, C. Jones. C. Jones said you are correct. I was on lisinopril years ago. I requested my doctor take me off and prescribe me another medication. Yeah. ACE inhibitors don't do well for our body. And then a lot of times, you guys, really before they put you on them high blood pressure medications, your blood pressure needs to be elevated. Some of us can have high blood pressure and be asymptomatic. But sometimes when you get up in the doctor's office, we call it white coat syndrome, where some people blood pressure is skyrocket when they're with the doctor, and any other time it's okay. But if you've never been on any type of blood pressure medication and your physician or nurse practitioner, in this case, in some cases now, if they're prescribing a blood pressure medication for you, make sure it's the lowest dose as possible, because you can always go up on the dose instead of starting at a high dose, and then you end up being what we call hypotensive. Your blood pressure drops low, and people fall and get injured. But anyway, y'all, you was having it. Yes. Hold on, let me see. You enjoying this, D? What you say, Lodge? You said special ed students need funding than any other group of students. Yes, logical. I'm gonna make a video about it, but I'm gonna find the paper. I had wrote that governor's name down, but I know he's from Connecticut, and I said that dirty dog. I said I'm gonna find it. Here it is. Look at God. I couldn't find it at first. His name is Governor Ned Lamont from Connecticut. The House and Senate plans to veto parts of okay, Governor Ned Lamont, he plans to veto parts of legislation approved by the House and Senate in the state of Connecticut that would provide $40 million to towns and cities for special education. Baby, I said I'm gonna find that man number, and I'm gonna give him a call, but I'm gonna do a video about that. Indeed, right there, just what you said. Yep, jail is the last place they love to misdiagnose. Yeah, or and over medicate you, I met a psychiatrist. He really is a good psychiatrist, but he's up in age. He had retired, they said, and he came back. I happened to be working with him when he came back, but I had heard the stories of him, and baby, his reputation precedes him. That is a psychiatrist that truly cares. That is, he truly cared about the patients. It was a no judgment zone with him. He didn't care about what these men were incarcerated for. He was there to help. And yeah, but yeah, they'll misdiagnose when they locked up in jail and prison. But you know, D, a lot of the patients that are locked up in jail and prison are mental health patients. They're using jails and prisons as a behavioral health center, as a way, kind of like the psychiatric hospital. You know, former Governor Ronald Reagan, back in the day, he shut down all the state-owned, state-run psychiatric facilities in here in California. So yeah, you have people getting charged for silly crimes. Not only that, when I worked in South Carolina, they were arresting and convicting uh young adults and adults dying with learning disabilities, like actually special education, like people that were in special education classes all their lives. Now they're stuck in the system. So can you imagine? But baby, I don't want to mix all of that with this video right here, but I'm gonna make a video. I'm gonna make a video. What you say, C. Jones? You said I was having a nagging cough on that med. Yep, coughing is one of the side effects too. D, you said I was just going to ask you the percentage of mental ill patients locked up. That's horrible. Hell, if you ask me, like the unit I was on, everybody, just about 90% of the patients on the unit was on psych medicine. About 90. Hell, it could have been 95. Could have been 95. C. Jones, you said my pastor mentioned to us that if you get a letter from SSD, please call ASAP. Well, I know they said something. They're making some changes to the Social Security Administration, but all I know, all the years I worked, it better be some money up in there for me. If it ain't, you gonna have an old woman by the name of misbehaving out here robbing banks, baby, it's gonna be a stick up because I'm gonna get my money back one way or the other. But I want to thank you all for coming and listening. And you all have a very beautiful evening over there on the East Coast. We just getting wrapped up over here on the West Coast, baby. Folks getting off work up in traffic. And I greatly appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all, I really do. D, I got your number. I'm going to give you a call. Country Girl Queen are probably still at work. Well, all right, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in and have a very beautifully blessed Tuesday evening.